All right, some exciting news today before we get to your lens, Lindsey. This is pretty cool. The Hill has officially announced Lindsey Granger, as the full-time co-host of Rising, effective today. This is pretty historic because I've been doing Rising now for over 4 years, and in that entire time, I've been, for most of it, a full-time employee of The Hill, like the guy who does Rising, and the other host has just been on a per-day basis. Some of them we had for a long time, some of them for a short time, but this is the first time I've had an official co-host the whole time. So I'm excited, and it's great.
I remember when I was deciding about taking the position, because you guys know I've been back and forth to Denver. I asked you if you wanted me to come, and you were like, yeah, like very excitedly, almost as excited as when Colin and I were having a baby, and I'm like, are you excited? He said, yeah. So I feel like you and I have a natural chemistry that's okay to, I want to show people that we can debate, but we're also probably going to end up on 14th Street going out together.
I do like to have fun with my co-hosts. The viewers know that. All right, let's.
I'm so excited to be with you. So thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. I always love listening to what you have to say, including on this subject. I know we're going to have some spicy discussion about it. Tell us what's on your lens.
Yes, so something that you love to talk about is vaccines. So let's talk about it. Basically, conspiracy theories aren't just internet rabbit holes anymore. They've become gasoline on a fire that's burning in real life. And unfortunately, the flames are reaching places I think they never should touch. In politics today, conspiracy theories are currency. They often inspire, animate, and drive the party in this Trump era. And while it might be tempting to shrug them off as fringe nonsense with little real-world consequence, reality just keeps proving us otherwise. Case in point, a Georgia man recently opened fire on the CDC headquarters in Atlanta, killing a police officer and rattling the nation's top public health agency. According to the Associated Press, the shooter blamed the COVID-19 vaccine for making him depressed and suicidal. This wasn't some random act of violence. It was a direct line from misinformation to tragedy. Here's the truth. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who oversees the CDC as the Health and Human Services Secretary, has spent years vilifying the very institution he's now in charge of. He's compared the agency's vaccine work to, quote, fascism and, quote, child abuse, called it a, quote, cesspool of corruption, and once even likened the health decisions to, quote, the Holocaust, a comparison he later did apologize for. Now, after the shooting, the CDC's new director, Susan Monterez, reportedly convened an all-hands-on-deck online meeting of the agency's division that focuses on vaccines. Now, recordings of this meeting were reviewed by MSNBC. As the leader spoke, dozens of staffers reportedly posted messages in the meeting chat, many naming Kennedy, citing his years of spreading misinformation about vaccines and vilifying the health agencies that he now leads. Staff members described the feeling like, quote, sitting ducks. And one reportedly said, quote, we need to stop fanning the flames of hatred against us, stop spreading misinformation. We will not be safe until their attacks against us stop. And yet, as bullets still echoed in the minds of the CDC workers, Kennedy's most visible public activity was posting fishing photos in Alaska this weekend. His official statement of support came more than 30 minutes after those fishing photos and long after the symbolism had sunk in. As infectious disease specialist Celine Gounder put it, quote, the symbolism could not be clearer. Scientists, doctors, public health officials, and law enforcement officials, people whose life's work is to protect the nation, now have a target on their backs. If Kennedy truly believes in protecting Americans' health, now is the moment to lower the temperature. The rhetoric he's used in the past might score political points, but it should be clear that it's no longer acceptable. Conspiracy theories are not harmless. They have consequences, and this time, one of those consequences was deadly. Yes, people are solely responsible, meaning the shooter is solely responsible for his terrible actions. But leadership can make it a point not to allow conspiracy theories to run wild. Kennedy can't undo years of inflammatory comments overnight, but he can start by speaking responsibly now, because when words become bullets, the damage is already done.
Oh boy, we are going to fight about this. Obviously, anyone taking matters into their own hands, using violence for any reason, attacking government buildings or government workers is wrong and bad and should be prosecuted to the fullest extent. But I think it's very wrong to blame RFK Jr. or anyone else for his actions, just as it's not, I mean, mainstream liberal people love to do this when the violence was plausibly motivated by some right-wing cause, and then Republicans like to do this when the violence was plausibly motivated by some left-wing cause, and we just can play this game till the end of time. But But I guess to your bigger point about the spreading of conspiracy theories. So I do think the CDC should be shut down. I think it's an appallingly evil organization. What
the words you're using.
Conspiracy theories.
RFK constantly spread conspiracy theories, not only around COVID, but around vaccines causing autism. That's untrue, not proven by any direct correlation. He's also claimed that Anthony Fauci and Bill Gates exaggerated the pandemic to promote vaccines. Did they have that direct link? He's telling people that. So people now hate Anthony Fauci. People now hate the entire industry because they decided to get the vaccine based on guidance that people at the time thought it was
plausibly the cause of the pandemic in the first place, because he was advocate for doing dangerous scientific research in Wuhan, China, that our own Energy Department, CIA, and FBI think was its likely cause.
He claimed that the FDA suppresses advancements in health. These are all things that have come out of RFK's mouth. I'm reading quotes. He said that the real in his book called The Real Anthony Fauci, he said a historic coup d'etat against Western democracy is what Anthony Fauci has done. So, like, imagine if you are affected by this. Imagine if
how is that a conspiracy? What you just said?
Because Anthony Fauci didn't plan to take over the world and kill people. That's not actually going to ever be a correlation.
I don't
in
think
most
he said
sane
Anthony
American.
Fauci planned to take over the world and kill people.
Well, he went into a lab, created this virus, and allowed people to die by giving wrong information, and knew that vaccines may have some negative side effects, which I think people did their best, right? They had shortcomings, of course, but to blame an entire organization full of employees that are working extremely hard to figure out solutions.
They were wrong. They got the testing wrong. There has to be accountability.
I know, but they're wholly uncomfortable. They're wholly uncomfortable working. So you don't think there's some people in there that got it right? Just to point out the negatives, like, it's pretty hard to come up with vaccines and all the solutions that are going to solve a worldwide pandemic. And so it's really...
Well, now you want to have it both ways. You want to say that we shouldn't criticize them, or
no, we should criticize them.
Okay, but that's what he's doing.
But we shouldn't have the rhetoric go so far from the highest officials that people feel uncomfortable doing their job. They feel like there's a target on their back.
Did their rhetoric not go too far? Their rhetoric, they accused him and others of being serial spreaders of misinformation and getting people killed, and then it turned out the things they were saying about them were untrue, because the early claims that the health officials made about the efficacy of the COVID vaccine itself were overstated and were exaggerated. Their claims that if you had to get this vaccine to protect other people to lower the transmission. That's what they said. And then what it turned out is that it maybe has some protective effect.
Right, so then that's what it does. My point. So when you take any medicine, if you take any medicine, Advil, does it cure every headache? No. Some people are still going to have a headache after they take it, right? That's what I'm saying. They literally gave a solution to a worldwide pandemic, and people were not satisfied with it, and they adjusted as they went on and learned more information.
The vaccine
and people want to blame them forever. Yes, it does make a meaningful difference. People's lives were saved. People saved their grandparents by having the vaccine. No, I think people were healthier because they got it. People were actually walking around free.
People were healthier.
Yeah, they actually were able to walk around more.
There's no scientific evidence
that it had no influence at all.
I didn't say that. No,
you said it was ineffective. It was overstated. I think that people took it and protected their other family members, and that was a good thing to do, right? If you are around younger people, yes, because people are the most vulnerable, are older people.
But there's no
and people with pre-existing conditions. But if you're around older people and you have a less likelihood of having negative side effects and passing it on, right? Say you're extremely sick. You're not going to get your grandma extremely sick, right? If you're wearing the mask and doing all things. Okay, but we don't have scientific... If we don't have scientific...
What they said was wear a mask, any mask, and you'll protect people around you, and now they admit
you were referred to do nothing and just pass the virus to everybody? Like, that was a ridiculous time. Go back and jog your memory about how uncomfortable we were.
My claims have been very clear. Getting the vaccine is a good protective choice for people who are unhealthy or elderly. For everyone else, it doesn't matter. That is what the science has borne out, and that is not what the health officials said. Next up, are people still interested in knowing more about the Epstein case, and has it harmed President Trump's approval ratings? We will talk about that next. Stay with us.